Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Last week, I spent a lot of time going over DMCA Lawyer, and in those videos, I talk about 1201 of the DMCA. It's a section that makes it illegal to bypass a technical protection measure or digital lock, even if you're doing so to repair something, especially if you show other people how to do it, and you can get 3 to 5 years in federal prison. When I talk about this law, I've talked about all the different ways that it's been misused and just given you a couple of examples, how it has been misused to keep people from fixing their own tractors, to get people potentially put in prison because they modded an Xbox to have homebrew software. It's been used against people who make aftermarket ink cartridges, universal garage door openers, people that create software that allows you to use your ebook on other platforms if you so wish. It's a very, very bad law because it criminalizes the tools themselves and the people who make them rather than criminalizing the action. When we talk about these laws and how it makes bypassing a digital lock illegal, even if it's to fix something you own, a lot of people will feel black-pilled, like there's absolutely no point in bothering to engage. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to notice. Our government doesn't give a shit. And in many ways, I understand your frustration. So I wanted to start highlighting clips from people that I've seen in these hearings that occur, because a lot of you, I imagine, don't have 2 or 4 hours to view random congressional hearings, where you see that there are people in our government that are currently elected that notice these issues, think they're issues, and actually want to act on them. One of them is Representative Darrell Issa from California. I want you to watch this exchange.
The right to repair is about empowering consumers, promoting competition, and extending innovation. It can be a key driver of growth and prosperity. Right to repair fosters consumer choice and freedom to enable consumers to protect their investment and extend the lifespan of their product and devices. It is a fundamental consumer principle. Many companies have a long tradition of aftermarket products. I'll take, for example, if you have a CJ Jeep. There are so many places you can buy so many parts, and in fact, the mystique of that World War II derivative product and its success and longevity of more than half a century relies on the fact that you can not only buy a new vehicle today, but you can buy a 40 or 50-year-old vehicle, and there are a plethora of parts available. That same company markets other products that today they would have you believe you should not have the same choice you have in that iconic vehicle. We've had a lot of discussion. I want to try to bring a couple of items back. I talked earlier about 2 authentic parts that are not able to be put together without a third-party tool. Of the 5 of you, does anyone defend the authentic parts bought and paid for by 1 or more individuals from being continued to be used and put back together somehow as a right of the manufacturer to prohibit? Yes. Anyone? Mr. Hartline, I had a hope that you might.
You were looking at me. So I'm trying to understand. So this is like a re-authentication thing? So like
Exactly. If you, as Mr. Roberts said, if I take this phone, which has a dying battery, which needs replaced,
Yep.
and my other phone, which has a cracked screen, and I go in and say, could you make one of them work for me, please? Put the good battery in with the display or vice versa. Both of them have a chip interface designed to stop them from being put in. As a matter of fact, even though the battery's authentic, if I simply put it into a different one, it will tell me and it will give me an error code saying it's not an authentic battery every time. I love Apple. I've consumed a tremendous amount of their products, but that is deliberately designed, even with authentic parts, to prohibit the reuse.
I think there's a lot of business reasons why they do it, including security. And I know it used to be, you put your thumb on the thing to open it up. And so they wanted to make sure that people weren't able to replace it to break into people's phones, and all of our personal information's in the phones. But I understand that Apple in particular, you don't have to go to the Genius Bar anymore, right? They have a repair program. They'll actually send you the parts. They'll sell you the parts. They'll send you the tools. It's the exact same tools that the guys in the Genius
Wait a second.
Bar have, right?
The only question before us is whether it's Apple, and I don't want to talk about Apple particularly because each of these companies is different, but if I remove from my BMW, at least during certain models, I remove the radio, unplug it, and then plug it back in simply because I was fiddling around with the dash, I now have to go back to the dealer to reinstall it. Similarly, the transmission example, I've got 2 John Deere tractors. One's got a busted engine, the other's got a busted transmission. Currently, they will prohibit you from moving the transmission from one to the other. From a standpoint of intellectual property, where in God's green earth or the Constitution, are any of those designed to be rights that belong to the manufacturer rather than rights that belong to the owners of those 2 John Deere tractors?
So those are a bunch of different situations, and so I think there would be underlying facts that differ with each, right? So we started on the iPhone, and I was going to point out that iPhone will actually give you the tool to synchronize it. In those other situations, I don't know the business justification for it, but if it's not an IP problem, like how is that an IP problem, right? So if that's locked up with the TPM and you have to bypass the TPM, well then that's a violation of 1201. So that's how they can lock.
So what you're saying is that Congress has created impediments to the right to repair. Mr. Roberts, would you say that is correct? That in fact the right to repair, were Congress never to have done anything since George and Thomas were our presidents, so to speak, knowing those 2 presidents, we'd be able to do things we're not able to do because they're now prohibited by acts of Congress.
Yes. I think it's great that he noticed this, and I hope that more politicians start noticing this, because if they do, maybe one of them will finally act on it. And I have a feeling, but let me know in the comments down below, that if somebody does act on this, if somebody says that bypassing a technical protection measure or breaking a digital lock for the purpose of repair is no longer illegal, that there's nobody on either side of the aisle, for ordinary Americans, that are going to say, how dare you? I can't believe you made it so that I could make my television work again if the software disables a feature, or make my thermostat work again if Google disables it. How dare you? That's so bad. I think that whatever politician comes out with something that pushes back against this in any way, shape, or form, if they're serious about it, will get a lot of public adoration and a lot of public support. I think maybe in the beginning it'll be short-lived. It'll be something that is within the niche technical communities. But once people within the niche technical communities do their job and explain the ramifications of this to normal everyday people, which is a part of my job, that it will be much more universal. And I hope to see politicians that realize how horrible this law is act on it into the future. I believe that the time is now. Every single device you own connects to the internet, and every single one of these things can be turned off with the flip of a switch at the company that makes it. And I think that's wrong. Seems like he does too. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.